the one that that the people picked.
Oh, sweet. Well, thanks, Tig. I appreciate you sending this to me. I can't wait to try it. And if you haven't gotten it, you should get a t-shirt that looks very similar to this on the way. Whoa.
I forgot I had my sweatshirt on here. Here it's going to be all.
Oh, hey, look at there. It made it.
Booyah!
Yeah. All right. Hey, welcome to the Knight's Path podcast. I am a huge fan of this man. We've got Troy with Tig Smok'n BBQ up in Minnesota on. Welcome, brother.
How's it going?
Going great. So I don't know if some of y'all caught it. It'll be in the description. I did 3 videos where Tig had sent me some barbecue sauces and a pork rub, and you just sent this to me, brother. I got this beef rub. So I can't wait to try this out. I'll probably do a video on it as well. But yeah, I totally geeked out on your stuff, and I did some food videos. I've never done food videos before, but you have an amazing product. You have an amazing product, my man.
Thank you.
So how long have you been doing the barbecue before? We'll just kind of touch on that, and then we'll go back in time. But how long have you been doing it?
We officially started the barbecue business in 2016. I've barbecued for years. Wanted to get into smoking, and like many Americans, started watching Barbecue Pit Masters.
Okay.
And thought, man, that is so cool. So in 2013, my wife, as a birthday present in January, found a class down in the cities, a 1-day smoking class.
Okay.
And so we went as a couple. Had a blast. It was awesome. Learned a lot. And we came back, and I bought a electric master built smoker from Sam's Club.
Okay.
Started monkeying around with that some. Had a good buddy of mine who wanted to get into it too with me. So him and I were learning as we went. And next thing you know, I've got 2 master builts. He's got 1. I was asked to do I think it was probably about 2015. I was asked to do a big street dance fundraiser, one of the local fire departments, volunteer fire departments puts on. So here I am now cooking for 250 people.
Wow.
And we did. It was a great success. And I wanted a bigger smoker.
Okay.
And so
that's how it starts, right? You got
right.
Like Mr. T with the starter chain, and then before you know it,
right, you got the whole
starter smoker, and then now I need this, and if I'm going to cook for this many people, honey, I gotta,
Right, and so I wound up. It was like a 250 gallon size propane tank with a big 42-inch by, I think, like 42 by 32, I think, and about 36 deep. Big chicken cooker on the front. Meadow Creek was the brand.
Okay.
Heavy duty smoking trailer. And thank God my wife comes along with me on these trips. Okay. And I knew that at this time I was working as a deputy. And so I could either, to pay for this is it is a very expensive piece of equipment. Okay. And to pay for it, I could either work a ton of overtime, or we could start a business on the side as a family.
Okay.
Working overtime, I'm away from the family.
Right.
Well, let's do this. My kids were younger at the time. So when we started, it was myself, my wife, 2 boys, and my mom. And we started doing events down. We've got a place that's called Bayfront Park, and they have events there. And we were doing 8 to 10 events a year, and that was it. But when we were there, we were slamming.
Yeah.
And I look back at our menu then to what we have now. My menu then was pulled pork, chicken quarters, and smoked beans. That's what you get.
3 things.
Now we've got so much stuff but so the business just continued to grow and grow and grow. And the winter of 2018 to 2019, we were getting so many requests for weddings, grad parties, different caterings, different events. we sat down and I thought I was going to get shot down totally on this. And I told my wife, I said, we either got to crap or get off the pot. We're kind of at that point where either we stay where we're at, we're never going to grow, or do we buy a 5-figure huge trailer with the smoker? I mean, do we invest this money? Yeah. And she said, write out a business plan. Let me see it. She needs to see it on paper. And I wrote it out. I said, here's this and that. And she said, the way it's going, she said, you know what, let's do it. And here we are.
That's awesome. That's
so
awesome.
And the sauces and the rubs was night shift stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely want to get into that because it's one thing to have an idea, right? And then it's another thing to go, because, for me, I have a lot of ideas too. But it's like, you got to put the nutrition label, you got to comply with FDA and all this other stuff. And it's, so just having an idea, is one thing. It's being able to do the homework, cross your T's and dot your I's and research. I definitely want to get into that with you for sure. But you and I have a mutual friend, Bill. He's the very first episode of the podcast. And that's how I met you. And I'm a Texas guy. And we went to your trailer and you loaded us down with just so much good stuff. And I was like, oh my God, Tig is a phenom. Your barbecue can compete with any barbecue on the planet as far as I'm concerned. So it's amazing. But yeah, I love the fact that most police officers, deputies, they get into the trap of, well, I'll just work more, off-duty jobs or overtime, right? But I love the fact that you're like, my side gig is not going to be wearing a uniform and just hustling and being away from my family. My side gig is going to be me with my family. That is brilliant. I love it. And then look how
it was great.
You were able to transition, which is awesome.
Yep.
All right, Troy. So where did you grow up? You always been in Minnesota. What kind of sports were you in? And then you've kind of started your own business. Let's kind of where you grew up, what you were into, whatever, and then getting into your sheetrock business, because Bill has nothing but great things to say about your sheetrocking skills.
So I grew up in Duluth, Minnesota, born and raised here. I did, Little League baseball when I was a kid. And then that was about it. I wanted to get into the hockey, the football. I played junior high football. Grew up in kind of a messed up, I guess, weird family. Dad was a dry drunk, I guess you'd classify him as. Mom is phenomenal. The best parent in the world. As it is now, Mom is, I couldn't do this without her help. She's huge. I have no relationship with my dad. But I grew up to where I remember coming home like in 4th grade, and I wanted to be an FBI agent in the worst way.
Yeah.
And I remember coming home with a book and telling my dad, I'm going to work for the FBI when I'm older. I'm going to FBI or cop, or I'm doing something. His response was, you're not smart enough to do that. And that's the way it was through everything. But it beat me down sometimes, but other times I took it as a challenge.
Yeah. And
kind of went, you know what? Screw you. I'm going to do this.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I can't make, I'll get maybe a couple bucks for allowance here. Well, you know what? Guess what? They're building a garage. I think it was 10 years old. They're building a garage down the road. I grew up on a dirt road in the country. Building a garage down the road. So one day I set up on a lemonade stand, made good money on that. Next day we were out of lemonade, but we had popcorn and I could make popcorn at 10, not a problem. So I sold ice water and popcorn, and I think I made $12-15 that afternoon.
Wow, that's awesome.
Started mowing lawns, did that till I was, I think, 13. 14 years old, I got a job in the summer, and I've always had a job since then, and just always had a drive to do things on my own, have my own business and whatnot. So I wound up, a buddy of mine, his brother-in-law was looking for somebody to help him do drywall.
Okay.
So I wound up kind of falling in with him and started out. His thing was, okay, we're starting out, so we're each going to start our own business and we'll just subcontract with each other and this, that. Okay, fine. So I went in not knowing anything about drywall.
Okay.
Like not a thing. He was a phenomenal teacher, and he didn't like the business side of it. And got to the point to where, him and I worked together very well. I think probably what honed us in a little bit more was, we were constantly in jest, but constantly harping on each other.
Right.
Go through and, hey, did you intentionally screw that up? Hey, you missed a nick there. Just constant, and it was fun, and we enjoyed it. But with the business side, he didn't care for that. And I think it was about 4 years later, he wound up working for me full time as my foreman.
Okay.
And the business grew. So I was in that for 13 years. I did the drywall business, and it was good.
So Bill tells me this story when I came up and visited him, and I had some of your barbecue. And hell, it's been over a year now. I need to come back up there, but you were helping him like redo his dad's house, and there was some drywall that needed to be done in the bathroom. And Bill's like, "Hey, do you need some help?" And you're like, "No, you'll just get in the way." And Bill, the way he tells it, you just went in with a few sheets and zip, 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 and it's like perfect, and like just he's in awe of your sheetrocking skills. And I've got some work at the house, and I'm like, shit, I wish Tig lived closer to me, man. I could use some of that. I'll cut the thing and like more crap will fall out, and I'm like, man. Anyway, crazy stuff.
It's all in what everybody has their skill.
Yep.
And
well, you didn't know anything, and then you're a quick study. So that's what I'm kind of getting from you is that you have this mind that, well, allowance is only limited. I'm not going to be limited to that. I can go do this, and then if you don't know it, you're going to learn it, which is an awesome trait to have as a man.
Yep. And I think one thing for me, I was thinking of this earlier, and talked to a couple carpenters here a couple weeks ago, and the one guy got it and the other guy didn't, and I think he's going to struggle. I remember when I started the drywall, I wanted to be any business I had. In the interim too, while having my drywall business, I also had insulation removal business for a while. Did that, worked with animal control company, and then with a spray foam company, a buddy of mine that owned that. So we would go in and we had this big, huge vacuum and suck out the old cellulose insulation, and then they'd come back in and do spray foam.
Okay.
I had some rentals for a while. That wasn't my niche. Tried some other things, that worked, some didn't. But when we were drywalling, one of the older guys that we would work with occasionally, I took a saying from him, and I think, when I started out, I want to be the best. I want to be number one. I want to be, and this guy used to always say, "Hey, here's the deal. I'm not perfect. The only perfect man I know walked on water, and he's no longer on earth. He's up above."
Right.
He said, "So I'm second best." So that kind of became our saying is second best. No matter what you do, there is somebody out there that can do it better. And if you want to get better, learn from them. That's who you should go towards. Right. Learn from them. But once you think you know it all, brother, hang your stuff up and go home, because you're done.
Yeah, I got a saying too. If you know everything, you can't be taught anything. So
absolutely. I learn stuff every day. I'm in the smoke trailer. Oh, hey, that works. Hey, that didn't. I mean, it might be something small, but there's always something
absolutely
to learn.
Yeah, I call it too. Like if you seek mastery or you seek perfection, it's treading water. It's constant motion and energy. You gotta stay current and on top of your game. Yep. If you quit, you're going to sink, and then you'll have to fight your ass off to try to break that surface again to get back where you were. So
absolutely.
Like any skill set, it's it can diminish over time, and you got to keep it up. So that's awesome. So all right, so you were a deputy with Bill for a while, and then your barbecue business took off. And so one thing I want to talk about real quick is you have a really awesome wife, I would imagine, because you're like, hey, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. I mean, how many times did y'all butt heads, and how good at you were at convincing her? But it sounds like she's got you down. Like, show me the business plan. put it on paper because that's how her mind works. And then she's like,
Yep.
okay. But yeah,
Yep.
kind of
And
walk us through.
some things are no, some
Yeah.
things are no, but others are okay.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's totally out of her comfort zone. My wife is very much security.
Right.
We had the discussion recently. She had an opportunity. She has a couple things that would be her dream to do,
Mm-hmm.
and it would be self-employed type stuff. And she actually had an opportunity come up, and we discussed it. And I was, let's do it. I'm in. Right. And she thought about it. She goes, I can't. She goes, I can't do what you do. She goes, I can support you doing it, but I can't do it myself because I have to have that. I go here, I work these hours. I'm guaranteed a check. And it's just not her thing.
Right.
And she goes, I don't know how you do it. And she goes, you always make it work, but you're just like, oh, well, yeah, let's do it. Give it a shot. Right. So I don't know.
That's awesome. Well, it's a good yin yang. Y'all balance each other out, right? Opposites attract. So your weaknesses are her strengths and her weaknesses are your strengths. Sounds like. So that's awesome.
Yep.
All right. So the trailer. So let's talk about how you picked out the trailer. I talked to Bill. He's like, because I'm a fan of yours, and whenever Bill and I talk, like, how's Tig doing, and how's the trailer? And he's like, damn, he's doing so well. I think he's got damn thing almost paid off. And you just kicked ass and taken names. So kind of talk about how you picked the trailer, what you've added to it. Your menu's grown, and just how you're like a mad professor that's just scientist that's just making shit happen. So kind of walk me through your vision from going from a trailer with shit mounted on it to now this has walls to now I want to expand my menu to, then getting all these gigs and then, paying the damn thing off,
So we, the story actually, the guy who I've become very good friends with, so I'm kind of thinking about a trailer, and boy, I'd like it, but I'd really like to see one.
Okay.
I'd really like to, I've never actually seen it because there was no trailer like this up in this area. Not a barbecue trailer that had everything mounted. So as I'm working, it was around Thanksgiving of 2018. And I'm on patrol, and I'm going by this one place, and there's this big, beautiful barbecue trailer there. Not from the area. Okay. He's from Little Falls, Minnesota. But this trailer's there. And I'm like, man, if I see this guy outside, I'm going to pull in and talk to him, So I'm driving by and nothing. And I don't remember if it was the Friday or the Saturday after Thanksgiving. I happen to be going by and I see this guy just leave the house. And I'm like, heck, I'll follow him. He's got to stop for gas, right?
Right.
Oh, no, he passes 3 gas stations and he keeps going. And it's like 5:15, 5:30. My shift ends at 6. It's dark out, and thinking, whatever, got nothing to lose. So I light him up, stop him. I walk up and he rolls down his window. I said, sir, I'm going to tell you right now, you are completely free to go. I said, you're not, the only reason I stopped you is I love your trailer. I said, if you want to talk to me about it, great. If not, take off, man. I that's it, And he's like, no. So we start talking. We probably 20 minutes on the side of the road.
That's awesome.
And I'm like, man, that is so cool. And told him who I am. Hey, I just got this small barbecue place, and a little trailer, and we go and do these little events. And so about a week before Christmas, I get a Facebook message. And I just kind of put it to the side, and it was really cool. It was cool to talk to him. And he told me, he said, you got to check this place out, check that place out.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
So I get a message from him like a week before Christmas. Hey, I think you're the deputy that stopped me. I just want to tell you, it was so great talking to you. On and on. We talk all the time. Now, we've become great friends. He actually wound up selling his trailer. But as I'm doing it, the more I talk to him, he's kind of lit the fire. Hey, if you're going to do it, you need to take this step. So now I bring it to Jess, and I'm, hey, talking to this guy, and I really think, we kind of got to, if we're going to get in, we need to get in now,
So
I bring the business.
He kind of shortcut your learning curve. He could give you some,
huge. Told me, here's the company to check out. You can check out some other companies, but here's the company I went with, and this is why. And then once I started looking, him and I were talking all the time. Here's what to look for. Here's what to not get. It was great, you know?
Yeah.
So we start looking and looking at the costs and whatnot. And I start talking to the company, and it's a company, SDG Trailers. It's in Waycross, Georgia. It's called Waycross because that's where all the trains kind of meet, apparently.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's the cross. Anyhow, start talking to them, and they custom build it. They give you some ideas, but then you sit and you lay it out. This is how I want this.
That's awesome.
So work with that. Talk to my bank. My bank's like, not a problem. Yeah, you know, we've done business with you forever. You're fine. So I had their full support, and wound up designing this trailer. So it was built in Waycross, Georgia. We were scheduled to pick it up May 8th. May 4th, I was involved in an incident at work. My partner was in a firefight with a guy at about 20 feet. Guy was in the parking lot. I pulled in and took him out with my Tahoe. So me going to get the trailer then was kind of a good time because it needed the diversion.
Right.
You know, there's a lot going on. We went down. I had my truck completely gone through at the shop, everything. Yeah. We're good to go. We head down. I've got my oldest boy with me. We get
how old was he at the time?
He was 19, so he was 20.
Okay, nice. Okay.
So he was 20. He was back. Back from Arizona. He's in the Air Force or Air National Guard, and so he was back from school in Arizona. So
cool.
We were taking a father-son trip.
Nice. Okay.
We made it down to 32 miles north of Bloomington, Normal, Illinois, and the bearing went out on my rear end. So there we are, stalled. I'm coordinating with Jess. Hold on, Dolan. Speak of Dolan's is trying to call right now.
Yeah, you're.
Where did I go here? How do I get?
I don't know. But your video went out too, so maybe he just let it ring and then tell him you'll catch him later.
Okay, yeah, I just let it ring. I was trying to clear it. There we are.
Yeah.
So anyhow, we end up getting a tow down. They have to put a whole new rear end in there.
Did you tow it down to Georgia, or did you go back home?
No, we towed it to Bloomington, Normal, Illinois.
Okay.
So we were 32 miles north. So we end up down there. We get a hotel, stay for like 4 days down there. They have to put a new rear end in, so we drive back. Then Jess and I rent a car here to go down and pick up my truck. It's done.
Okay.
We get down to pick up the trailer. I've never had a problem with my electric trailer brakes on the truck side ever. Hook it up, the truck brakes don't work. When they put the new rear end in, my old airbags in the truck junked out. Didn't think that I would need them. The trailer completely squatted my truck. We messed with this all day.
Oh, God.
We went to 3 different shops to try and get the brakes fixed, and each one couldn't get to it until the following week, but each one said, you got issues in your wiring. Finally, Jess called it. She said, we will pay for them to haul the trailer home for us. We just need to go. You don't need this extra stress. So we just took our time coming back. We took like 3 days. And with everything going on with the work stuff, we really needed it. It was just her and I, and drive all day, stop at a hotel, make sure they had a hot tub. We'd hot tub, have some cocktails, and do it again.
Right.
Everything happens for a reason. For whatever reason, we weren't supposed to haul the trailer home. Because about 2 months later, here I am thinking my electric brakes don't work. My buddy checks his trailer. He's like, yeah, I think it's my truck. Long story short, my electric brakes work just fine. Never had a problem with them again. Put the airbags in the truck and it was fine. It's just crazy how things work, how they're supposed to work.
Crazy.
Yeah, but anyhow, so they haul it up, and we had events going, and it's just it has exploded. Well, from there it exploded in events and catering, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Coronavirus comes.
Right.
Well, when everything starts shutting down is just when we're getting set to go up here for the summer. We usually get going around, at that time, we would start the end of June, early July is when our season was. So coronavirus now has everything shut down. So here I am sitting with this big expensive trailer going, what do I do?
Right.
Got a friend who owns some commercial buildings, and I said, hey, do you mind if I set up in the parking lot of one of those? Absolutely, set up. The rest is history. It has exploded. It was not this summer. It changed some because everything else is open. But last summer, it was not uncommon at all. I think almost every event that we had, we would start the event with anywhere from 40 to 60 people in line. And people show up an hour early. We've had people drive 2.5 to 3 hours just to come down and get our brisket, which is, I'm still just amazed at. I know we were at the movie theater one day, parked there, and there was 3 or 4 cars there, and I went out and I said, if you're waiting, I said, you're an hour early. And each car said, yeah, we know, but we've been here before and we know we have to be an hour early. One car said, we drove down from Ely. Like, that's 3 hours away. I said, you must come down for shopping or something? They said, no, we came down specifically for your brisket. We were down shopping before. We got your brisket, and we came down today just for the brisket. Once we get our order, we're heading back home. I mean, it's astounding. I've had people from Eau Claire,
6 hours drive time, and they got there an hour early.
Yes, for some brisket.
Yeah, but it's damn good. I can tell you that. I know that for sure. So it's definitely worth
been very, very blessed. With the sauces, that came from when I was working nights. You work night shifts, 4 on, 4 off. Well, the off days, you don't shift your schedule. So there was many times that 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, my wife would come out, and I would think that I was quiet, but I'm halfway deaf. And she'd come out and say, can you please be quiet? I can hear clanging and this and that.
And you're just a mad scientist.
Different barbecue sauces, and going online and looking at probably 1,000 different barbecue sauces and going, well, I don't like that, and I like that. And this looks good, but I don't like that. And even that was crazy.
How do you decide? So one, congratulations for blooming your business during COVID when it shut a lot of people down. So we
were very fortunate. We grew exponentially. I mean, it was amazing.
That's amazing. Well, I think when I was down there or up there, you were at a car dealership, and there was a line, and luckily we knew you, and Bill knew you, and we got to go around. We got to backdoor it, so we had like backstage passes, and we were doing a deal in the back of the trailer, which was awesome, and you hooked us up. But yeah, that's awesome. But the other thing is like because I think it would have been awesome to be one of your pals back then too, because Bill used to tell me you would bring stuff to work and be like, hey, try this. What do you think? So like you came up with your idea of what you thought good was, but then you would beta test it with your deputy buddies, right? Or just anybody that would taste it, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah,
and
always looking for input.
Yeah.
And even now, I'm always sending people with different things that I'm trying, and I got some more stuff this last load, and I'll be doing. I've never done the dinosaur plate ribs,
okay,
because you can't find them up here. Okay. Well, now Costco came in, so it's the big beef ribs. I think they're pretty popular in Texas, but you just don't see them up here. So I got those. Well, now that Costco has them, we're going to do a test run on those here next week.
Okay. Yeah, those are the big ribs. That's like Fred Flintstone cartoon with the big plate with the big ribs and the bones sticking out the ends. Yeah, awesome. Sweet. So before we get into, because I talked to Bill last night, and I want to talk about this ice castle thing you've got going on. But before that, I think an amazing story that, like, you and Bill's relationship and some other buddies, y'all went, and I'd like other men to hear this, because in even me personally, I'd like to hear this. It's like, how do you guys pick your friends? And what I mean by that is everybody has friends, and I know, like, there's certain friends you're going to click with and you trust more than others just because you got things in common. But you and some guys went in, and y'all went in like fourths to buy 80 acres of land. And, you know, y'all would each kind of, that's a hell of a lot of trust, and that's a hell of a lot of commitment. So, and then I understand, like, one guy wanted, y'all bought him out, and, you know, but that's kind of amazing for me to, you know, think about the friends I've had. And I started a business. I started a bar with a buddy of mine, and we obviously did not align on the vision of the bar, and it lasted a year, but, you know, that was a business. And they say, hey, never go into business with family and friends. Well, it depends on your family, it depends on your friends, right?
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
So how did you guys decide that, yeah, I'm going to go in and halvesies or quarters or whatever with my pals and buy this 80 acres of land? And then you guys are all like self-sufficient workers. You work your asses off, and like you go, you know, some guy will bring this and work on this part. And it's a nice cabin. It's really cool. But just kind of walk me through that process. Who came up with the idea, and then just how y'all made it? Because it's a really kick-ass retreat, man. It's awesome.
Oh, it's phenomenal. It is phenomenal. We so that started with Bill and I.
Okay.
Bill and I want to say probably I met Bill in 1999 through a mutual friend. We went on a hunting trip together, and Bill and I, and then our other buddy Dave, and it was my first time meeting those guys. And on this hunting trip, we just clicked. Like you say, you know, sometimes you just click.
Right.
So then next thing I know, I mean, these guys, Bill and Dave, are stopping by my house all the time, and I'm going and doing stuff with them. And we just, you know, we started doing more and more and more together.
Right.
So Bill, Bill went first. Bill said, I'm going and buying a four-wheeler. So fine, if you're buying a four-wheeler, I'm buying a four-wheeler.
All right.
So him and I used to four-wheel all the time. We would put on, you know, at least a few hundred miles every year, you know, 500 to 700 miles a year, I would guess. And in the wintertime, we would go and my ex's dad and uncle owned a hunting shack out in the sticks, and you know, I had the key and could use it anytime too. So Bill and I would go there and launch.
Okay.
Well, we never stayed overnight there or anything. So, and we just kept talking more and more. And, you know, especially when it was super cold in the wintertime, we would go and it was, you know, 0, 5 below sometimes.
Yeah.
We were much younger then.
Yeah.
But we kept talking, man, wouldn't it be awesome to have our own hunting shack? We could go back, we could grill steaks at night, we could heat it up, come back. It's more, you know, just kind of this pipe dream. And it just kept growing and growing and growing. And Bill and I talked about it enough. Our buddy Jason was losing the land that he used to hunt. I think it was public land, but then they were starting to develop and this and that. So he says, hey, if you guys do that, you know, would you mind? I'd really like to go in with you guys. And like, well, yeah, you know, we kind of laid some ground rules for all of us. Is, you know, we're going to sit down, we're going to discuss everything, we're going to, you know, this, that, and next thing.
Right.
So then just as we were about to find the land, our fourth buddy Kenny called each of us, said, hey, you know, my family's cabin, this and that, but I'd love to have a place of my own, you know. And yeah, you know, come on in, but, you know, we're going to sit down, we're going to have meetings, and we're going to discuss some things. Some of the things discussed were we're going to have 4 bedrooms. We're not having a bunkhouse. It's going to be, you know, you each have your own small bedroom. So we got some privacy if you're up there as couples or whatever. The other thing is, whatever we have into it, if you ever want out, you get out what you put in, what we have into the actual shack, not your dues, not this, not that, what you have. What we wanted, the purpose of this is, A, if anything ever goes south, you're not going to make money off it. And B, it's set up to be passed down to the kids, not to be sold. If we can avoid it, we want it. So it goes down through the kids. But, and each of us, we did everything ourselves. The only thing we did not do ourselves is it's all spray foam insulation. But I've got a very dear friend of mine who, when I was drywalling his projects, I would always do it well, here's just what you just pay the guys and pay materials. That's it. And he always had something going. He was a contractor. So any of his own stuff, we always did that with, and I just kept building up credits, I guess. Yeah. So when it came to the spray foam, he's like, no, I got it. But we did everything ourselves. The drywall, I kicked all of the guys out and I brought my crew in because I'm like, no, I'll end up throttling y'all. Just slow me down. And we had, I think we had the tough talks, which for us weren't necessarily tough talks, but it was, there is no rank in this shack. I don't care what you end up being. You can end up being the police chief or the sheriff. You're nothing here. You're nothing but a friend. Right. Again, as far as the buyout, and I think what really makes it work is, I think we're all pretty, I'd like to say we're all pretty reasonable and understanding. Yeah. I went through a stretch when I was going through my divorce and time with the kids, and my ex convinced my youngest that if he fell asleep on the couch there, a wolf would jump through the window and take him away. She'd never see him again. So he hasn't stayed. He's spent the night at the shack once, and that was 12 years ago when she told him that. Wow. So for me to use the shack, I couldn't because my oldest loved it. My youngest hated it. Right. So we just didn't go. So I didn't do a lot of things there for a while. And then now Jason's got his 2 kids in multi-sports. So he's not there for a while, and time when Bill has stuff going and Kenny has stuff going. And it's just, we each go through those cycles of life. Yeah. And we get it. And whoever has time to go mow the lawn goes and mows the lawn. If you have time to go split wood, you go split wood. And it works out good because there isn't that, hey, I did this and you didn't do that.
Yeah, there's no, I did this, and you're not keeping score. It's just do what you can.
No, we don't keep any score. Right? Yeah, what you can, when you can. And I laugh because it was last winter. Jason had actually, he hasn't made it there more than a handful of times a year the last few years, just with his kids and stuff. But he had brought some friends up to stay, and they stayed the night, and another family, and he was telling me, he said, yeah, they're walking around going, holy crap, what have you guys done with it? This place is beautiful. You got, the old entertainment center and big boob tube TV is gone. We got the flat screen now, and it's really nice. And Jason says, he goes, I had to tell him, that's all Tig and Bill. I've had nothing. I haven't had the time, but these guys have done all of this. And that's just how we work, we all just chip in. We chip in to make it a better place for everybody. And there isn't that scorekeeping, like you say. And we all put the same amount of money in. And like Jason has said, I've told him, I almost feel like I should pay a little bit more to fill the propane tank. And he came back to Bill and I said, why? I pay my share. He goes, I have just as much opportunity to use it. The reason that, or the fact that I don't, is on me. That's not on you guys. I still pay my part. And that's the attitude we all have. So that's what it makes it work. And Bill, I mean, I'm honored that he likes me. Yeah. He's the guy you want to be like.
Yeah. He's so I call guys like Bill a foxhole friend. He's the buddy who would want in a friggin' foxhole with you, bar none, and he's got your back. And you know where you stand with him. He's a straight shooter, and he's solid as can be. Yeah, absolutely.
He could be your only friend in a room of 1,000, and he's not going to leave your side.
Yep.
And he will stand and face those 1,000 and say, "You're wrong. Yep. This is my friend." He's that guy.
Absolutely, he is. Yep. Yeah, you're 10 foot taller when you're with him because he's your friend. So I think we feel the same about Bill for sure. Yeah. And that's one thing with Bill. When Bill said, like with you, he goes, I want you to meet my buddy Tig. And knowing what kind of a friend Bill is to me, I'm like, shit, if any friend of Bill's, and like, this is cliche, right? Any friend of Bill is a friend of mine, but it's like, no, he did the litmus test. He did all, Bill vouches for you, then shit.
Right.
You're his foxhole buddy, then, we should be friends, It's been amazing getting to know you and all your kindness, like sending me all the sauces and stuff. But it's Bill's a great dude. So no, thanks for walking me through that. I mean, it's one thing, and y'all got 80 acres, it's a beautiful place. The last time I was out there was a bulldozer that was kind of clearing some land off to the side of the shack, you know.
Yep, we cleared up probably at least another acre, if not more. So that's all open now and all seeded, and it's really looking really good.
Yeah, it looks nice. And then y'all got game cams out there too, and Bill will send me snapshots every now and again of like a huge friggin' moose that's like walking. It's like, holy shit, you know, like that thing's huge.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And there's
it's beautiful place. What's wonderful is my wife and I get there as much as we can in the winters.
Mhm.
She absolutely loves it there too, which is great. It's very comfortable. As you've been there, you know, it's a comfortable place. And yeah, so it's a great getaway. In fact, I stayed just Monday night. Bill stayed Monday, Tuesday, but I had to get back. We've been selling started doing gift packs with the sauces and rubs and everything. It's selling like crazy. So I had to get back and fill another order for Tuesday. So I couldn't stay Tuesday night.
Yeah, your gift packs are awesome. So I'm going to put all your links down there. Now let's talk about the newest business you were in. So we do Bill and I and some other Dallas PD guys will have a DPD happy hour every other Friday. So if you're ever not busy doing your mad scientist stuff, we'd love to have you on and just, you know, meet some of the other guys and stuff. But yeah, we were talking about ice fishing, and then he was talking about an ice castle, and I'm like, and he and another buddy of mine, Rob, were on, and they knew what that was. And I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
Texan, what the fuck is an ice castle? You know, what are y'all talking about? And it's like, well, it's just
Right.
it's like this RV, and then, you know, it has these holes that you can pull up, and then you can cut a hole and be in the RV. So kind of explain to me what an ice castle is. It's really just like an RV. And then this is kind of a new business you've gotten into. So you're always thinking, and you were being real humble the other day when I was like, hey, I want to talk about your entrepreneurial spirit and your work ethic. And you're like, Bill's got the work ethic. I just come up with ideas and try it. But
right, that's it.
from my point of view, it's like, holy shit, Tig is inspirational because, like, yeah, I'm going to buy an RV. And, you know, so tell me about the Ice Castle RV thing, what your plan is. And then I love the story. You and I talked before we hit record about how you came up with the name. And I love that and how it touched your wife. So
they're all kind of considered ice castles now. Ice Castle was the original brand doing it.
Okay.
Now ours is actually, it's a Gray Wolf brand. But if I just say a Gray Wolf fish house, nobody knows what I'm talking about.
Right.
If you bring up Ice Castle, everybody's like, oh yeah. So picture your regular RV camper.
Okay.
And this one has a bunch of, they're about 12-inch in diameter holes in the floor. And then they've got hole covers that snap in place. And they have either crank down or mine is hydraulic. So you just press a button and it sets down on the ground, sets down on the ice, and you auger your holes and you've got heat, TV. Mine has an electric fireplace, refrigerator, stove, bathroom, everything. So you camp right there on the ice. I've wanted one for quite a few years, and now my winters slowed down a little bit, and I started kind of getting the itch again. And we had a travel trailer for a few years, and we would, with the kids, so we would go camping. This was before the barbecue business. We would go camping, and those are some of the best times that we ever had. I mean, the greatest memories we talk about all the time. Those are just great memories of the family.
Yeah. And
my wife and I still loved camping, but we couldn't justify having this travel trailer in our yard that we used once a summer.
Right.
So we got rid of that, and she loves ice fishing too. And you know, she started that with me, I think like 2010 or something like that was when her first time going. And so anyhow, I telling her, I said, you know, I'd really like one. And, you know, we paid all this other stuff off and we can afford it. And she's, well, you know, go ahead and look. So I'm looking at it, and I couldn't justify spending that kind of money on something that I would use. I sat down with a calendar. How many times could I get out? Well, I could use it at best. I could use it 5 times a winter, and we can use it 1 week in the summer, and that's it. I got talking to some other people and that I knew that loved camping and whatnot, but didn't have a camper anymore. All these people kind of had the same story. I can't justify spending the insurance, having the payment, doing A, B, C, and D to have this camper that I use 5 times a year. So, so I started digging into RV rental type stuff.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple companies out there. They're exactly like VRBO, except it's for RVs.
Yeah.
They vet the people. They take a percentage of it, but they vet the people. You have to buy insurance through them. They take a deposit. If you have an issue, it goes through them. Find out a guy I know does this with his. I'm telling him about it. I'm excited. Hey, look, this is what I found. He goes, oh yeah, I was going to sell my fifth wheel, and I found this site. He goes, so that's what I do with my fifth wheel. He goes, it's rented all summer, every summer. And so I start looking, and I run it by Jess, and I said, if I can do this, I said, the first year is going to be slow because we got to get out there with the business. So we wound up buying this RV ice castle type camper. Yeah. And it's a year round. So they make them where they're just basically for ice fishing. There's no AC. It isn't really built for summertime camping. This one here is. Okay. And we're starting to see more and more and more of these on the roads up here in the summertime, because rather than buying a winter one and a summer one, people just go with something like this, use it year round. There you go. So the gap I'm trying to fill, there's really nobody else up here right now doing it, as far as having it to rent it out. So we wound up buying it. We've got it listed, and we've got a couple rentals so far. We've got a lot of interest, but we don't have enough ice yet because it's a bigger unit. Yeah. But I think once the ice starts coming in, I think the rentals will definitely go up. And if they don't, I'll be using it when it's not rented. But like any business, I figured, it's going to take a couple of years to take off and get going. Right. And worst case scenario, I'm stuck with really cool fish house. But for the name, all right. For the name, so my wife's name is Jessica, but her grandfather, pure Irishman. And when my mother-in-law announced that she was pregnant, my wife's grandfather said, well, it's going to be a girl, and you need to name her Kelly. That's a good, strong Irish name. Needs to be named Kelly. Yeah. And they named her Jessica. And but her entire life, Ba is what they called them. Ba called her Kelly. She was always Kelly. He never called her Jessica ever. It was always Kelly. So his name was James Joseph, and he went by Joe his entire life. So her name is Jessica Joe. So anyhow, we're trying to come up with a name for the business, and I've learned some things. When you're trying to name a business, trying to come up with something, for me at least, everybody's different. For me, it's better off not even thinking about it, and all of a sudden something just comes up. Yeah. So I literally wake up in the middle of the night one night. Kelly Joe's RV Rental. Yeah. It's a tribute to Ba. It's, beautiful name. So I wasn't going to wake Jess up at 2 a.m. to tell her this. So wait until the morning and said, hey, by the way, I don't know what the heck brought this on, but woke up in the middle of the night. What do you think of Kelly Joe's RV Rental? And she just looks at me and she starts crying. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I do? I'm sorry. Right. She's like, no, that is the best name ever. She goes, I absolutely love it. So we have Kelly Joe's RV Rental. You can find it on Facebook. I think she did Instagram too. Just Kelly Joe's RV Rental. And then when we were shopping at Target last weekend, we aren't to the point yet where we've got the sweatshirts, the swag yet. Right. But when we do, we're walking through Target shopping for some stuff, and Jess is up ahead of me, and all of a sudden this idea pings in my head, and so I quick wrote it down, sent myself an email so I'd remember. Then I go up, I find her, I said, hey, when we start getting swag for the Kelly Joe's RV Rental, I said we have to have a picture of the RV on the back, and underneath it says I shacked up at Kelly Joe's.
That's awesome.
So so we'll see. That'll that one I got approval on the back of our TIG sweatshirts. It says you'll love our butts. Yeah. I didn't get approval on that one, so I went by myself and ordered them, and now she's good with it. Okay, good. So hey, you're like me. I will send myself texts just so I don't forget something, because I'm constant. I've done that so many times, and I'm like, I'll remember, and then my brain's just friggin' carousel of crazy shit, and then it's like
Damn, I wish I'd have written that down. So it's awesome that you're like, I emailed this up to myself so I didn't forget.
Constantly.
I do that all the time. I'll even leave myself recordings too. So we
Yep.
are liking that way, my friend. But no, I'll put all the links down in the description of this. One last thing. I almost forgot. How did you come up with the nickname? How did Tig happen? How did you go from Troy to Tig? And Tig is short for Tigger, Winnie the Pooh, right? And I mean, are you just a happy, crazy guy that's hyper and you bounce around on your tail? What's going on, bro?
Apparently, basically, I've had that nickname my entire life.
Okay.
My mom says I was a very active child and was bouncing around all the time and always doing something. So they started calling me Tigger. And then, of course, once I got older, I hated the nickname, but all my family always called me Tig or Tigger. In fact, my drywall company was Tigger's Drywall. That was kind of one of those things where now I'm accepting it. And I went, okay, well, fine. I'll use the nickname then, Tigger's Drywall. And then, just kind of, it's just a nickname that stuck. And so, Tig Smok'n Pig Barbecue. And the Smok'n Pig was tongue in cheek. I came up with that I ran it by the guys at work. I said, tongue in cheek, Smok'n Pig. So they of course start laughing because cops are funny. And and the general people have no clue. But to us, it was an inside joke. And it just kind of stuck. So we rolled with it.
Sweet. Well, and the other thing is, Bill just told me that you got voted the second best barbecue in the area, and you're a trailer, and the one that beat you is an actual restaurant that's been an incumbent for years and years and years. And then Bill said, but of course, I think they're shit compared to Tig's. And I would probably agree with that. But that's pretty amazing, right? That you got ranked second.
Amazingly humbling. I was humbled and amazed just to have been voted. I don't know who put us on the list. So it's a thing that then people nominate others, and then the public votes on it. To come out second, I was amazed just to be mentioned, and that to me is phenomenal because we're a food truck.
Yeah,
we're out 6 months out of the year.
Yeah.
So the one that took first place is a year-round restaurant. They've been established. They've been around for a few years. And as I tell people, we're just different. Their style is different than our style. Mm-hmm. But we beat out like Famous Dave's. We beat out some other top name restaurants, and I'm absolutely amazed. Our customers are phenomenal. We have people that it seems no matter where we go, we usually run about 33 to 35% are repeat customers. Mm-hmm. But we can be 20 miles this way and we can be 15 miles that way. And it's these same people that are making that drive. Yeah. If not further, we've had people come up from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, just because they used to come to they would go to events down at the Bayfront Park. They'd go to concerts there when we were there. And now they'll come up once or twice a summer just to get our food and make the 1.5 to 2 hour drive. I'm still just amazed and it's astounding to me. So I love it, but always trying to do better. And like I tell people, not everybody's going to like our stuff. If everybody liked the same thing, we won't need different restaurants. We won't need different groceries in the store. Everybody has different tastes, but it's been working. It's been great.
Well, I'm a fan. I'm going to follow you, and maybe we'll hook back up in 6 months to a year, and we'll catch up.
That'd be awesome.
See how the RV stuff is going on another podcast. But before then, I'm going to try to get up there and hang with Bill and eat some more of your stuff in person and be able to shake your hand and give you a big hug. So
that'd be great. And that beef rub is phenomenal. Not only on I use that on my brisket and whatnot, but also for steaks and burgers. But I've got a buddy that uses it on popcorn and swears by it.
Oh yeah, I bet it's awesome. Yeah,
I don't know.
I haven't tried that.
Yeah. So, and then I put it on my turkey breast that I just smoked.
Okay.
And did some taste samples with that, and that was the one that the people picked.
Oh, sweet. Well, Thanks, Tig. I appreciate you sending this to me. I can't wait to try it. And if you haven't gotten it, you should get a t-shirt that looks very similar to this on the way. Oh,
I forgot I had my sweatshirt on here. Here's going to be all the
oh,
beer.
hey, look at there. It made it.
Oh,
Yeah. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks,
It's awesome.
All right. Well, thanks. It's the least I could do, man, for all the stuff you sent me and all the goodies. So,
Oh,
Tig, I
anytime. If
appreciate
you
it.
need more, let me know.
Okay, man, will do. I appreciate it. It's been an honor and privilege having you on the podcast. All the success in the world, and I can't wait to put all your stuff in the comments, and I hope we get some traffic sent your way, brother.
Sounds good. Thanks, brother.
All right,
Talk
take
to
care
you later.
man. All right,
Yeah.
bye.